Hey, what's good, Soul Tribe? I hope you're doing good, doing well, having a beautiful day wherever you're at. Wherever you're at is where the energy's at. So, so much. Oh, goodness. Kind of need to open this. Yeah. Oh, wow. The way that I'm like kind of, well, not struggling, but challenged in opening this deck. I don't know, maybe there's some kind of challenge that we need to overcome, maybe. But yeah, that's all only because like this box, I don't know if you can see, like it was knocked on its side there. So, I always take these intros or things that happen at the beginning of the reading as part of the reading. So I just wonder like if, throughout our journey, throughout our path, for the collective that, there might have been something that perhaps knocked you or, some kind of impact that had a lasting effect or an impression on you that has led you to perhaps show up in a certain way, behave a certain way, adopt a specific persona. But yeah, just the thinking there. But again, with me having taken out the cards from the box, I think there's something within that is coming outwards, right? Something that's being revealed. And I love how these things happen. It's like I never kind of have an idea of what's going to happen, but everything that we do has a greater meaning or depth or message if we want to look deeper into it. So I think it's beautiful that it made itself known or apparent in this case, right? But yeah, let's go in. We are in our elevation season, so I'm very much excited. Anytime that I say that we're in a new season or a new time here on the channel, it's because I'm led to, well, Spirit's leading me to kind of usher in a new era or a new age, a new time. Okay, both of these. Okay, then we're done. And it just feels like we are growing and evolving together. We are going through these different phases, and in these different phases, granted that these are timeless readings, but whenever these different phases or messages part of these different phases find you, I find that they are necessary. And at this point in time, a lot of the messages are going to be focused on our growth, our elevation, moving from one level to the next, a level up. And that's part of why it's being called the elevation season. So we're at a certain level, within our spiritual journey, within our path, within the experience that we've had. Okay, let me put it this way. I think it will appear a bit better. Wherever you're at, you are at a place where things can get better, things can improve. And I'm very much looking forward to, what this elevation season has for us, whenever it finds you and wherever you're at on your journey. So, so we're using the African Goddess Rising deck today by Abiola Abrams. Hope it's visible and you can check it out. But, so we've got 3 cards pulled out here. Let's see. So first one we have is Queen Mother Nanny, Liberation. It says, oh, I'm seeing like a mask there. Oh, masks are like in the shadows. Something being revealed perhaps. Okay, we'll get into that. But I like the the keyword of liberation there. Definitely, it's like a reclaiming of sorts. Okay, the next one we have here is Long Bubby Susie, and it says shame. That's the second one. Shame. Just thinking about Game of Thrones, when is it Khaleesi and she's walking down and everybody's saying shame, shame, shame. And granted, I'm looking at this figure over here, which is reminding me of how she looked there, because she didn't have any clothes on, and over here she's just well, half dressed, I would say. But yeah, just a thought that came to mind. And then the next one we have here is Nana Buluku, and it says seasons. Wow, this is interesting. This is so interesting. If I'm looking at this as like a passage of time, it's to say that like those things that are going to liberate us, or perhaps we're at the point of liberation, but then knowing that, there'll still be things that are going to put us in situations where we are needing to learning to discern as well. Or even like I was just saying there, learning to learn. It's like each new phase or level, plateau, plane has new ways of studying, new ways of execution as well. But when we think of things that we are also shameful for, it's also a perspective. Can we perhaps look into the shame to see the energy that it provides or avails to us? But from liberation to shame, I mean, that's almost like a peak and a trough, up and you're down. And then perhaps this is also being explained by this season, right? Because there's a season for anything. There's a season, there's a reason. So there's a season for warmth, like summertime, a season for it to be cold, wintertime. So, if these two cards, the liberation and the shame, or perhaps let's say acting as like opposites, this would be the grounding energy. I'm even looking at how the ground here, I'm saying grounding energy, and on the ground, I mean, there is green grass, and then there is grass that is orange or brown in color. So it's kind of indicating that it's a different season, exactly like this card is saying. So regardless of the season that it is, how do we stay grounded? And look at that, there's water regardless, there's flow within the different seasons, and it's about what we do with that flow. Where on the greener side, it's like, hey, there's all this growth, and then on the other side, it's being preserved. I'm getting an image of a cactus right now as well. So how do we traverse these plains, again, these plateaus? We're in the elevation season, right? I mean, here she's out in the open, mountainous area. There's also the sun coming up, so that's one plane. And here's one that is even more within, because it looks like she's in a cave. So if this was like the sunrise in the background there, this could be the sunset, and then this could be nighttime. So it's almost like an integration as well as happening through these different cards. But yeah, we'll go into them much deeper. Just what I'm feeling, and how the images are striking at me right now. But I think it's going to be an interesting message that we're going to get out of this. At the back of the deck, we have the Queen of Sheba. Okay, looks like two cards want to come out over here. And the Queen of Sheba is saying secrets revealed. And there was saying, and of course, I'm even placing it over this Queen Mother Nanny, where I'm seeing these masks in the background, and it's like they are coming forward, or they are being revealed, and then here it is with this background energy, or the energy that we're not seeing, is that there are certain energies, people, environments, or influences that's what's coming through. Again, energies, you can take it whichever form. It could be a person, a place, a thing, even something that you do. It holds an energy, right? So it's coming forward to say this was veiled, and now it's going to be unveiled. It's going to be seen for what it is. There I am thinking about that I mentioned how like water can be held in a cactus, but here's also a camel, and camels also have their humps, and they carry water for a long amount of time. So definitely an energy of something that's been carried for quite some time. I mean, somebody, let's say, having a secret is like, oh, I'm going to keep this to myself. I'm not going to tell you. I'm not going to show you anything. And it's also coming to my attention now how I've been using my right hand this whole time, and I've kept my left hand down. So it's like your right hand is not going to see what your left hand is doing for some reason. Maybe this could even be a secret that you've kept within yourself, or something that maybe you have not taken the time to witness or see within yourself as well. That could be it. And then we have also here at the back, Queen Nefertiti, and it says alchemy. Wow. The first thing that popped out to me was the Ankh sign over here. So how do we create life? How do we create flow and existence from these revelations or these secrets being revealed? And it's almost like, how you kind of go through almost like a ritual. They, like, I know in the spiritual community they speak to, let's say, a humiliation ritual, where once you are put in a position where you are quote unquote undressed, where you are in a position where nobody understands or sees you, or you are less favorable, that is your preparation for your elevation. And again, here we are in the elevation season. So it's like, yes, for you to be liberated, you might need to be embarrassed, you might need to go through something humiliating or shameful, but then knowing that it's your season, you are saving the water, saving the energy for the time when it is time for you to sprout, when it's time for you to scream and shout and let it all out. Like, you know what I mean? So it's like, you are working with these phases, right, of the sun, sunrise, sunset. And I mean, I'm seeing that here in the background, but it's like it's in the nighttime where these things are being integrated, or maybe early mornings as well. But if it's all coming together here into the life in this Queen Nefertiti card, I'm seeing how, from this sun over here, there are these hands that are reaching outwards, but there's also like that, the fist within the sun to show like, hey, here is the strength that I've accumulated from all of these experiences. And this is also like letting me know that there's a knowing or understanding of how to share the energy, how to share the sun, how to share your essence, your source, your aura, because of the alchemy that you've done, because you've worked with it in the seasons. And even in this card over here, it's like we're seeing that they are almost like, well, it looks like multiple seasons at the same time. So it's like, can you be love and ego? Can you be dark and light? You know what I mean? It's like you can choose which energy or which season you decide to embody or hone in on, depending on what is required or what it is that you want to put out at that point in time. I'm also being drawn to the numbers on these cards, and these ones right here, it's 37, 36, and then 38. It's like, you're at a place, you kind of get pulled back just to come back stronger. It's giving me the image of an arrow as well, because an arrow needs to be pulled back for it to be thrusted ahead with force, with direction, with speed. So us kind of viewing this shame, sorry, confirmation burp. I was kind of viewing the shame, like I mentioned earlier, as energy to work with, is putting us in a position, like preparing us for this alchemy, putting us in a place where we can actually work with this energy and realize like, oh, okay, you got me down now, or I'm in an unfavorable situation now, but what about what happens later? Spirit's also telling me that while I'm describing it in this way, depending on where you are in your journey, this could be something that you're going through, or it's a message of what you have already gone through, and you are now at this point where you are ready to embrace both seasons, or whichever seasons that you have come out of. It's like each season comes with its lessons, like, oh wow, when it was cold, I learned how to be resilient, and when it was warm, I learned how to relax and take things easy, type of a thing. So it's like each point or phase on your journey is or has brought about experiences or lessons that are available for this integration and alchemy. And us paying attention is where we are seeing like the hidden codes or the secrets, the messages, like I was saying, that are being revealed, that are coming out of the hardship, out of the challenge or quote unquote struggle. I don't think we should call our experiences a struggle, because it speaks to us not being willing participants to what's happening. And the more that we are in flow, it's no longer struggle, it's ease, right? So how do we embrace the ease and even change our perception again of what it is that we're experiencing, to work with the energy rather than being resistant or blocked or like adamant, in a better way to describe it. Okay, Spirit saying, I need to show you all this. So just at the bottom of the deck, before I shuffle, we've got the Ace of Cups. This to me is energy in motion. I'm thinking emotion, but this would be a availability of a new energy, a new emotion, a new experience, if you want to call it that. But this is an outpouring. This could also be a blessing of some kind. And before going into this whole unpacking of these oracle cards, I think this is why we are seeing this card at the beginning, is to say all of this is a blessing. It's so beautiful that we can even connect the way that we do, using technology, using our physical presence, writing letters, whichever means of communication or connection that we use, in any state of our being, mental, emotional, spiritual. It is just a blessing, that we can do these things. And then even in our own lives, that where can we extract value from the experiences, the emotions, those interactions or connections that we have, and see, like, it's like with these cups like overflowing, that so much energy is being availed to us. And with it being the ace, which we like to think of as number one, it's a new thing. So it's like a new way of seeing these connections, interactions, experiences, and feelings and emotions, right, as teachers of how to navigate this new plane, this new echelon. And I think it's a beautiful thing because, even in this card, we're seeing her, like, it's almost, I'm getting this image of you giving this cup to yourself, but it's because we are the observers of this card. So it's like, can we see ourselves giving to ourselves instead of, being resistant, like I was saying, being adamant, and knowing that there's more where it came from, because we have been through certain things before, certain experiences, and it's again that selection of, hey, this time or this era needs me to tap into this cup, whereas each of those cups have so much more to them. It's even giving this like idea in my mind of how sometimes we experience something and we think that, let's say for example, you experience like a breakup or a falling through or falling apart with a friend or a partner or any relationship, and you think that that was maybe for you to learn how to protect your heart. But then you can now, in this new time, review that experience again and realize that there are more lessons to those experiences than what you initially thought they were. So it's like, at the surface level, it's, hey, let me learn how to protect my heart. But then maybe going a step deeper could be showing you how to have boundaries and knowing how much to give and how much to keep to yourself. So it's like, we are also now given this opportunity to, granted, wherever we are, wherever we're going, to kind of integrate or think back to, what was it about that season that was so great, or what was it that was so limiting? What did it avail to me? Or what is it that I perhaps did not alchemize yet that I can alchemize now, such that I can take those steps forward and rise again in this new era. And for me to say rise again, I mean, it touches back on this analogy of the sun, right? The sun rises again over and over. There's that Bible verse about how on a new day we are renewed in our faith. So granted, you have experienced something before, but you can rise again as a new version, again, this new cup, the first cup. So it's like, you can start from the beginning all over again, but instead of starting from the beginning as maybe looking at it as a negative or a setback, you are starting with experience because it's a different season. So you are starting with that knowledge, with that information of what was, what is, and what is to be. Okay, you want me to split? Okay, cool. All right, gang. We're gonna take it right there. I ain't gonna hold you. These two over here. All right. And backwards. Wow, Spirit just be doing some things like. And one more for the side. Okay, we're going threes. Yes. Okay. All right. this will be what we have at the back then. All right. Interestingly, like Spirit is like, yo, just split the deck. We got this. We got this. We got this. All right. You know what? Okay, I'm just gonna leave it as it is. I think that there's a reason for that, right? But I'm just gonna leave this over here. Okay, I still want it in view though. Okay. All right, it's fine. Just leave it over there. It'll make sense. I'm trusting that it's gonna make itself known. Okay. Interesting. All right. So yeah, let's just jump straight into the reading. Hope you're doing good. I hope you're having a great day again. Welcome to Roots Holistic. It is me, Chi3E, and it's a pleasure to have you here. Thank you for connecting with me with this reading and ultimately connecting with yourself. If anything, these messages are just confirmation, I like to say. And a lot of the times, it's just clarity or guidance for you to further take the journey within and go deeper within to yourself. Alrighty, let's go in. So, for our first oracle card here, Queen Mother Nanny, Liberation, we have the Fool in reverse, we have the Moon, and we have the King of Wands. Wow. There we were speaking to with the Queen of Sheba, the secrets being revealed. And, I look at the moon as these illusions, right? As these revelations or things that our intuition is yet to tap into. Again, with the moon, in the usual depiction of this card in the Rider-Waite Tarot deck, they show like almost like two structures, and then on the side of these two structures, in between, there is these is it a dog and a wolf and then a scorpion? So it's like something being revealed or unearthed over time, but then it's like it draws your focus, it draws your attention such that you can actually direct energy towards it. And if I'm being led to start here and I'm looking at how this image on the card is a female figure looking towards the left, it's like looking at where this part of the journey, because the Fool is a start of a journey as well, but it's where you did not pay attention, where you were not following your guidance or your intuition. Perhaps there's an element of foolishness. I'm even getting the word ignorance right now, but it's like something is going to be brought forward. And once this information is brought forward, and I'm looking at how this card is like stacked on a bunch of other cards from me having split the deck, it's like there's so much to what was ignored, so much to what was not integrated on this journey. But because those things already happened, it's like it was stored in like a memory bank, or it's like a repository within yourself of these experiences. And it's like you could keep going outside of yourself to maybe try and learn new things, to discover like, okay, but wait, why am I going through this? What is the whole point or intention of this lesson? And of course, it dawns on me that, my notifications went off there because we are being notified of something, right? And this thing that we are being notified is something that we own. I mean, it's my phone that is notifying me of something that is about me or for me, related to me, my interest, my passion. So how do we, as now the collective, shed light on what it is that we are needing to even further liberate, or like it's like give life to? Liberating is like also like a letting it free. It's like giving it freedom as well, giving it a chance to breathe. And I'm looking at this vast expanse of how even these masks that I was speaking to, it's like different versions of yourself that you've kept behind that are now going to come forward or let free or set free, such that you can be this version of you that is the liberated version. It's like you don't have to hold on to certain things or turn a blind eye to those things if you are ready to integrate them and accept what it was there to teach you about yourself, And there I was speaking to how, in the nighttime, who's that? Travis Scott. I don't know what song it is, but just the lyric is coming to mind. But yes, in the nighttime, the moon is up in the nighttime. Granted, I know the moon sometimes is visible during the day, but this integration is happening in the nighttime where you are now connecting to yourself and these realizations are coming forward. And then you have this opportunity to, work with the energy. I was speaking about how in the seasons, there's water and there's flow. And I'm thinking about how the moon affects the tides, or controls the tides, if you want to look at it that way, where it's high tide or low tide. But then also the tide being high, low, or speaking to like a peak and a trough as well, that is the season. So is it a high season? Is it a low season? Also what phase of the moon are we in? So it also speaks to like the dimensions of how we look at something. There's so many viewpoints or entry points that we can look at it from or within. And that is further expanding upon what those experiences can give us, right? The lessons that are coming out of it, which is why I was getting that analogy of we have experienced enough things to alchemize at this point. We've experienced enough things to learn that, actually, I do know enough, even though you haven't, let's say, extracted all of the value from that experience yet. It is still there, and when you are in the situation that requires you to liberate it or set it free, it will be brought forward, but then it's about you taking the time to acknowledge it. And then with our next card here, granted, I was just thinking actually before I jump to the King of Wands, these first two cards are major arcana cards, right? And these speak to like the trump cards, where they granted can, let's say, appear very prevalent or sometimes in the background, like, not so prevalent. But it's a matter of saying that this energy has made itself apparent or known to say, tap into your intuition about this journey that you've been on. And once you are no longer foolish or no longer ignorant, because there's a certain point where, it's like you realize that like ignorance is bliss. You don't know what you don't know. But when you do know and you know better, you have to do better. That's the only way it's gonna work, right? You can't be oblivious to those lessons or signs anymore. So, using that example I gave earlier about, let's say, learning to protect your heart, it's like you're now not going to be like haphazard or foolish in this case and just like throw your heart into situations or like, expose yourself, be exceptionally or exponentially vulnerable when you don't need to do that, because you can be exceptional in your integration of that lesson and be like, again, me even using the word exceptional, which I don't usually say a lot, but it's like you have to recognize your degree, even your pedigree. It's like you're not at the same level. Something could be just average, mediocre, but you are now exceptional at this path, this journey, this alchemy that you've been doing. So why not apply it for the highest and greatest good? And then here we have the King of Wands. And to me, this is coming across as, fully honing in or stepping into your power. This is giving me the magician at work, where, you've taken your wand, you've taken your passion, your creativity, your drive, your will force, your desire to fight for something or to earn something, to achieve something, and you have decided to direct it towards a mission, a goal, a path that is actually going to, in this case, liberate you, free you, set you free. I'm thinking about also how as a king, with the kingdom and empires and things of that nature, where they could like free the slaves, they could, liberate the community, the economy of that place, where whatever decisions they make have a long-lasting impact. And then we were earlier speaking to about how, a previous impact altered our perception, our direction, or how we showed up. But now it's from this introspection that we are being course corrected. I'm also looking at how in this card there are two wands, granted one on fire and one that's, you know, surrounded by these stars. But with the two lines, it's like, you know, creating this straight path. You are now clear-minded or focused, clear vision, you know. So there's something about this clarity and, you know, being again, I don't know, there's this, it's just a feeling of, you know, being focused on the path, looking ahead, and staying within the lanes, you know, like perhaps staying in your lane in a sense, but like, man, it's coming through in a different way of like, how do I say this? And it's a phrase, you know, but it's about, you know, eye on the prize, you know, like tunnel vision. Yes, that's what I'm thinking. It's like you being tunnel visioned, you know, so focused, so determined to make better use of what is available to you, the energy that's available to you. And, you know, this is also not being afraid of having power. This is acknowledging that the power that's been given to you is because you are deserving or worthy of it as well. You know, not everyone is put in a position to do the things that you do, live the way that you live, have the experiences that you have. So if you are in that place, then why not like take the ball and run with it? You know, it's like you're gonna score the touchdown or you're about to, you know, get the winning goal type of a thing. So why not like take advantage of the fact that you are in the position to make best use of the energy that is available within you, within the situation as well, but then remaining balanced while you do that thing. You know, it's almost like what's that saying? With great power comes great responsibility. Knowing that you can use the power, but then you also are responsible with it. So that's where the two things go hand in hand, where, you know, there's power and there's responsibility. There is, let's say, there's wisdom and there's also discernment. So there is a companion energy to how you use the energy that's available to you. So you are also going to, again, use that to, let's say, for example, you have a lot of success, but then you are also humble, for example, where, you know, being put in a position of power doesn't mean that you forego the things that will keep you in that position of power, and then also being an example to others, or even just maintaining that flow or that direction that you have now accumulated within yourself, because you are not only liberating yourself or setting, you know, here's this thing coming together where the king is like, you know, setting the slaves free. So it's like you are doing it even for, you know, like if I'm looking at the masks in the bushes there, it's like you're doing it even for like your previous people in your line, you know, like generations before you, your ancestors. It's like you are now not walking alone, you are walking with them, but then even parts of them that didn't get to be expressed now can be expressed through you, because you are the one who can do that. So that is your elevation. So here we were saying that, you know, this is like the plains, this is the ground, and I'm seeing the water there in the background. And here in this card, we're seeing the clouds. So that is the elevation. It's like you are now, you know, in this flow. I'm looking at, you know, the dress that she's wearing. You being in this flow, you singing your war cries, taking your arms and then directing them upwards, forwards, towards this elevation, towards this expansion, is what's putting you in this new plane, this new level or echelon. And I think that's so beautiful, man. It's amazing. Wow. 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 Honestly, like, you know, I get to this table and I'm just like in the flow of the reading, and when I take a moment to like recognize what I was just saying, it kind of blows my mind as well. But I think that's also part of the secret, right? It's like when we spend enough time diving deeper on something or analyzing it, reviewing it from those different aspects, dimensions, or entry points, I was saying, it's when we can realize like, oh damn, we good, like we're straight, you know. And I know that even with the energy that I put into the reading, the energy that I put into this channel, I'm speaking to people who are willing to do that very work, that inner alchemy. I like to tell people that in the morning I wake up and I Google myself, because I'm doing an introspection, a review of how did I sleep, how do I feel, what did I dream about, and I would journal, right? Just to further connect with myself. And I have this belief of how, when you win the morning, when you achieve your victory in the morning, you've ultimately won the entire day, because you set the tone, you set the energy, you set the agenda of how you want your day to flow and to go. Granted, you don't know what is going to be presented to you, but once you hone in on your energy and decide how you want to be, then what's going to get in the way of you being the best version of you, if that's what you've decided to hone in on or embody, right? But there we go again, Spirit bringing this into this part of the reading. So it's like, if you've decided to be the best you, and you are now presented with a shameful experience, a humiliating experience, something that is perhaps degrading you, or presenting okay, let's put this aside so maybe it will look better, an experience that is unfavorable, you can again tune back into yourself and remind yourself, like, hey, is this how I actually want to feel? And when we ask ourselves those questions of how we want to feel, then we want to feel more positive, which is good. And I like to say good is God. So when you now experience these experiences, experiencing the experience, learning the learning, it's so interesting how the same word is doubling up. So I don't know again if the rise again, if this is happening to someone all over again, or it's like the cyclical nature of things, like a season, like it's summer now, and then summer comes back around, a year later type of a thing. So there's some kind of like a cyclical nature of how you're always going to go through like a period that is unfavorable, then go through periods that are favorable. But then knowing that, or anticipating that these unfavorable periods will come around, it's like, there will be winter time, and maybe one winter you weren't dressed warm enough, or you didn't have, the right heating options available to you. But now the next winter, you learned, now you're prepared for that, and now you treat it better, you handle it better. And even while going through that, now like, okay, this is passing, it's fleeting, it's not gonna stay this way forever. And it's reminding me also like of how farmers, right, they know that there's a season where it's rainy and there's a season where the land is dry, but then they prepare for those seasons. They harvest, they plant, they plow, they do all the things to know that even in the dry season they can still eat, they are still provided for, they are still good, they're straight. So I was going on something, but with the neuro expansive nature that I have, it's like all these different thoughts and ideas are just like flowing and connecting, and I go with that flow. I don't try to shy away from it or deny it. But there was something else I was trying to say, especially with this rising, and then granted one of it was the seasons, and it repeating and being cyclical, but there was something else I was going towards, but it's okay. I think if it comes back, it will. But I'm just trusting as always. Elevation season, right? Less doubt, more trust. So we have here the Five of Pentacles in reverse. We have the Death card in reverse, and also the Knight of Cups in reverse. Wow. Oh goodness, I'm getting all these shivers right now. It's like we don't have to look at the tribulations, the trials, as just being these quote-unquote negative experiences. We can see them for the value that they yield or avail to us. Because if we know that we are going through whatever type of transformation at that point in time, learning how to show up not only for ourselves but the situation that, you know, our guides, universe, source, angels, ancestors, God is putting us into, then we can see that those are only our teachers. You know, everyone is our teacher, every experience is our teacher, and us not recognizing that is shying us away or putting us further away from the growth that could occur or come out of that. You know, we don't want to be limiting our own expansion or our own opportunity to revitalize or reinvigorate ourselves with, you know, some purpose, some drive, you know, some attention and focus into what it is that we're doing. And, you know, it's like, it's giving me that thought of how war is a reminder of why we love or appreciate peace, and strife is a reason of why we appreciate ease and comfort, you know. So it's availing ourselves or opening ourselves to the duality or the dichotomies of life, where we can be reminded and embrace these tough times, or these times when we are in quote unquote unfavorable positions, and then see that they are only highlighting aspects of ourselves that we can further draw inspiration from, but also direct energy towards. Because if we don't do that, it's like that part of you remains dormant or absent. And I was speaking to being adamant earlier, where why shy away from doing something that's actually going to help you move forward? So it's like you can't, well, you can, but okay, just to in the pursuit of balance, you would not want to only live in your spiritual aspect or bag all the time. You know, it's like you're in your different modes, you're in your different modalities or bags, like I'm saying. Like, you know, you're in your spiritual bag, you're in your ego bag, your physical bag, your fitness bag. It's like you kind of know that there are aspects or parts of yourselves that need to be given a platform, that need to be seen or elevated or even appreciated, so that you can be this balanced human being. Because here I am even looking at, you know, how she's sitting. I mean, you know, honing in on the energy. The left is the right. So the up is the down. So you see that this is like preparing you, or in preparation for the alchemy. And for me to even like stumble on the word, it's like, how do we, you know, take an element or a time to pause? And for me to even say take an element, because it's just like, you know, just word flowing right now, or word vomiting, if I want to call it that. The words are just coming out. It's like we can take certain elements and work with them again. Just like, hey, let me work with the fire, let me work with the earth, let me work with the water, because that is what's going to bring us to the seasonal point of view, this integrational point of view, where, you know, here it's like it's greenery, there's water, and there's the sky, which is the air. But then in the cave, there's so much more earth in this. You know, this is like the point or the place where it's being grounded. Like, hey, here's what I took from outside, and let me now take what was outside and bring it to what's inside. So again, there's that balance, right? There's the dichotomy of the left and the right, the up and the down. And even with these feathers that I'm looking at over here, it's like you are being gracious as well in that process. And that speaks to me again stumbling on the words to say, you know what you're going to do, but then you step into it with thought, with consideration, knowing that the intention is to not shy away from what it's bringing forward. So if we can view shame, humiliation, or anything degrading as energy to work with, we should actually be excited. We should be like, oh, what? This is trying to shield me away from something that the world or perhaps others would view as, something negative or unfavorable, something that would knock me out of the game or take me out of this balanced focus that I have or am achieving, then I'm now seeing that I don't have to be in lack or in a scarcity mindset to think of how transformation occurs. It doesn't mean that only good things happen to those who are like wealthy, whereas it's people who decided to make the most of their circumstances that achieve this growth, this elevation, this expansion, where it's not only wealth in a financial sense, but spiritual wealth of the mind, wealth of discernment. You can apply that wealth into whichever area it is that is needing to be increased for you. So you could have, like that's saying you could be rich or you could be wealthy, whereas rich is perhaps, let's say, a state or condition of that time, but then the wealth, it's longer lasting. It's like it's a lifestyle. It's a way of living. It's a way of being, because wealth, it permeates, it goes beyond just that point in time. So just like how death would be, finite in a sense of like, viewed as, oh, this is the end. But then we know from being on our spiritual journey that it is not the end. It is just another part of life. It is just another part of the flow, the life cycle. I'm thinking about in development. I was about to say software development life cycle, which would be an SDLC, but it's like your development life cycle, your soul development life cycle. Oh my gosh, that is crazy. Your soul development life cycle. Wow, spirit, we cooking right now. Whoa, like look at that. Here's something that I know that I can share with you that is now a lesson or an experience that was in one area of my life, and now here it comes into this different area of my life, but then the lesson is already there. So I've taken that and alchemized it and brought it into this, and wow, it's so interesting now how like there's this development life cycle of our souls that now it's like, I mean, just check it out. Honestly, I'm not going to give myself all the credit, because before this moment, I'd never even thought about that. But then it's this moment of grounding. It's this moment of introspection, this moment of deep dive, looking at the masks, the messages of, even right now I'm thinking about, just the letters in itself. What is it called? Anagram? Oh my gosh. But, oh my word, now I'm thinking of all these words that start with A. But yeah. Oh my goodness. Abbreviation. Oh, there's the word. Yes, it's like it's an abbreviation, right? Of what each letter or each point is going to bring forward. And we see just the letter, but then there's so much more to what the letter is or what it represents, because soul, development, life, cycle, each of those words mean something so crazy, but when you bring them together or you just look at the letters, it's just a doorway to something more deeper, something with more depth, something with more wealth in it, right? You see how it all comes together? So again, let's not shy away from those lessons, those emotions that are going to come out of what is being availed to us, because all it takes is us going deeper. And with me even thinking about this as a cave, I'm thinking about like Lara Croft and Indiana Jones, where these caves, these pyramids, these places that people explore have always been there, but then time and time again there are new discoveries, or like geologists and archaeologists, people who just spend time looking at ruins and things of that nature. It's like things of the past have new things to teach us that we can still apply in this new era, in this new millennia. And that's the cyclical nature of life, where we even discover that people before us lived perhaps in more advanced ways, than what we are now. We can or kind of view that as primitive in a sense, but there are still things that are from those eras or that past time that we can now experience or appreciate in these times. So yeah, man, I think that's so interesting. This is, just again, that willingness to change your perspective, to see it in a new light, that your view changes your experience. Your focus on your time, your money, your career, your home, anything that is you on this earthly plane is going to alter how you transmute or work with that energy, transform from that energy, and then be this version of you that doesn't shy away from, giving to yourself before you can even give to others. So wake up to the offering, wake up to what is available to you, and work with it. Yo, man. Ooh-wee, that was something. That was something. Whoa. And it's so crazy. Each card is like, or each section of cards is like a portal in itself. I feel like I'm being like drawn into that mode or that zone, which is what I was saying. And every time I like move from one card to the next, it's like I feel it's like there's like a vacuum that I get pulled out of, and then I get pulled straight into it all over again. And granted, it's me saying that it's a vacuum, but it's putting your air up to breathe. When somebody's like swimming and they like, let's say they're doing like that freestyle swim, and then they turn their head left and right, and they breathe and exhale, they inhale and they exhale. And that's what's being asked of us as we go through this is, can we inhale and exhale, attract and receive, but then also release and give what is for others? Again, there was another notification, again, receive the notification, right? Let it come in as it needs to come in. Let it go out as it needs to go out. But as always, granted, I'm saying, I'm being pulled out of the reading, but it still is a part of the reading, because that inhale, the exhale, right? The in, out, the left, the right, that is us appreciating the seasons, right? That's us knowing that there's a time and a place for everything. There's a time and a place for energies, for things to die, for things to live, for things to come together, for things to fall apart, or I like to say, for things to fall into place. So wow, there's so many eyes over here. Yo, man, the third eye must be open. The crown chakra must be open. And it's interesting how this is such a beautiful progression from, how this death card is indicated with the skull. And on this side, we have the Queen of Swords, Ten of Swords, and the Five of Cups. I'm seeing the correlation with the fives as well. But granted 5-5, but then from the death to this Ten of Swords, there's also skulls in this card, where the skulls are on the swords that are poking the character in the back there. But then with the eyes, there's an eye here on the third eye or crown area there. But then here, the death card is absent of eyes. And then here, the Queen of Swords has the eye in the background as part of the shield. But here, she's still alive. But, the eyes are also absent of eyes, or the eye sockets don't have eyes in them as well. And it's interesting that, it comes at this point where in the Seasons card, her eyes are covered by these beads from what she's wearing, like this crown or piece of jewelry. I don't know how to look at it. And it's like, what is it that you look at? What is your perspective of what it is that you're seeing? For these cards to show up in the way that they are, it's swords, and that's speaking to wisdom, knowledge, truth, and could also speak to, the crown, which is, like I was speaking to, the spiritual gifts, the third eye, the awakenings, right? It's us appreciating that the seasons come with information about how we are meant to live, what we are meant to get up from. And this feels like a full circle moment, in a sense, of where I was speaking to how once we know better, we do better. Because the Queen of Swords, it's describing the truth coming at a cost, that some things needed to die for others to live, some things needed to be released so that others could have a place to exist. And that is, with the eyes being absent here, as well as me seeing that, relating this to this death card, it's a matter of saying that, you needed to let certain things go to transform into this version of you that is now more alive or able to get up from the past, or the version of you that was not able to live their truth, not able to hone in and tap into their gifts and utilize them for the highest and greatest good. This is like a reminder of how our grief, our pains, our trials and tribulations can be the anchor or the drive towards wanting better. And I was saying how earlier that hardship makes us appreciate the good times, or like war makes us appreciate peace. When we now see that we are in this position to do better, become better, step into, again in this case, being able to direct and discern, right, correctly, live our truth, be the best at what it is that we are doing, where can we shield, right? Not only shield as like keeping things out or protecting yourself, but then have like a barrier, because it keeps something in, but it's also keeping something out, which is where I'm getting to with this. And it's like that barrier is the eye now. Your aura, your auric field, your experience, your wisdom is that barrier or that shield for you, and you get an opportunity to step forward when it's necessary for you to do so, when it's necessary for you to get up and use that experience to, again, invigorate something else that you are doing. So this is, let's say, having profit from the pain, or turning pain into purpose, where you don't let that past experience riddle you or rile you up or be like the bane of your existence, where it's viewed as something to cover up, shy away from, to bury it, right? But then use it as a source of inspiration. I was listening to this album that Future released. When was it? Yesterday or the day before? Yeah, okay, yesterday, yes. And it's called The Real Me. And there's like a skit on one of the songs. I think it's actually Andre 3000 who's saying that, that there is pain in his music, but we are all getting a front seat to the pain. We are all getting to witness the pain in real time. So can we change our view or our eye on what pain is and transmute it, alchemize it, pain into purpose, pain into profit, pain into profession, providence as well. It's like, it's just coming through as all these P words, and I'm also thinking like P, like keeping it professional, keeping it peaceful. So knowing the pain, knowing the dark side, knowing the tough side, the times when the seasons were barren, allows you to focus on the times when it's present, when it's no longer barren. This is you also realizing that you don't have to forsake yourself. You don't have to put yourself in harm's way or be the one who always carries the burden of others or of past experiences, and that you can actually let them go. You can see them for what they are, which is growing or learning experiences. And knowing that they are only there to make you stronger. What's that saying? If it doesn't kill you, it only makes you stronger. And that's what I'm getting from this. What's also coming through, it's like your worst experiences, quote unquote, right? The things that you view as your hardships, or that were very challenging, or like I mentioned earlier, quote unquote struggling, are the things that have actually made you the best you. Can you look at those experiences as things that have actually cultivated, or unearthed or revived or created this version of you that is this powerful one, this all-knowing one? It's like you are the king or queen of your experience now, because they shaped you, they molded you, like I was using cultivated, right? But something new was birthed as a result of you going through these things that you went through. And there's a part of you knowing that there's a spiritual part of this journey as well, where a lot of the thoughts, actions, motivations, the drive is very much spirit-led, as a result of you having gone through what you've gone through. Because the Ten of Swords is, the tens are like the end of that journey within that suit. And at the end of this suit, you learn that, like, oh damn, I need to live my truth. Like, there is no other way that I can know as much as I know, or be in this position that I'm in, and not use my strength, not use my mental prowess, this exceptional gift that I have of, being the truthful one, living the truth, and then also administering the truth. It's like it's coming across as like even the judgment card as well right now, where you are able to be fair, not only to others, but also to yourself, because you have the experience. You went through things that allowed you to balance things out, or see them from both of those perspectives, or perhaps even 5 perspectives, because here's that dimensional viewpoint, right, where you can see something from not only what it is, what it was, what it could be, let's say past, present, and future, but even the in-between times from that. So between past and present, between present and future, you have read between the lines. And with me thinking about, what I mentioned earlier about being in this King of Wands state of mind. So it's like those 2 extra lines or extra points from, 3 to 5, it's you being even in the in-between times, even in the transitional phases, even as you're going through the transformation phases. That's where you are still remaining focused. That's where you are still applying this wisdom. The transitional phases, the transmutational phases, even as things are changing or taking shape, you are still remembering, like, hey, it's all a process. It's all part of the alchemy, all part of the transmutation of why it's going through or happening the way that it is. And just coming back to yourself. I'm also feeling like how the energy at this point is kind of started to settle, because the integration is happening at this point in time. The recognition or the acknowledgement of why the previous phases have happened is happening at this point in the reading. This is like a knowledge of self. This is so much knowledge, so much wisdom that is being put to work or into action, and appreciating that, honing in on that. This is an acceptance, of who you are, your power, your ability, your capability, and also what is available to you. Because this shield, confirmation, but granted, it's, shown as the eye, and it's like your guide, Oh, sorry, your guides are able to walk with you, behind you, but then they are also seeing things ahead of you. And then you are the one that's, in the in between. You are the one that is on earth. What's that saying? On earth as it is in heaven. Give us, that's the prayer, right? So it's like your prayers are still going up or going ahead of you for the things that you prayed about even before you. So this is like that again, the accumulation or that integration point. This is it right here, where things past, things future are being kind of, you're getting like what's this thing, almost like a foreshadowing. It's like in movies when they show you something or give you hints of something that's about to occur. You're getting hints of what is to come, because you have made it to the point where you can actually see these things, where you can understand these things. It's like you being given a vision of the future, but that vision doesn't now kind of make you scared of what's to come, but it's again that preparation for what's to come. Wow. Yo, man, I think this is a very interesting, a beautiful reading. I don't know who this is going to apply for, but it needs to be heard, right? And I'm always just thankful that Spirit has used me as a vessel for this message, this great work, something you got to see and believe before you can achieve. Freedom starts in the mind, and it's up to you to conceive. What I'm reciting now is like some lyrics that I have in this song that I created recently, and it's about being free. So be free, guys, not only for me, but for all of us in this place, in this space. Like, let's be free. We're always gonna have good times, bad times, times when we're up, times when we're down, but we are free. We are always free, and I think that's an admirable quality. I just realized that rhymed there, but it's us being free that we can tap into the flow again, get back into the current, get back into the wave. And I'm just being reminded of the water again, the tide. Get back into that. We don't want to go against the grain so much that we are opposing or adamant to what is for us, but then when we are in flow with it, we can kind of take things as they come. But I understand, with us knowing that there's a season for everything. There's a time when going against the current is necessary, because that is your mission. And what's coming to mind is how the koi fish goes against the current, and at the top of the waterfall it becomes and transforms into the dragon. So there will be a time to go against the current. There'll be a time to go with the current. But it's that recognition of where are you in your journey, to know that regardless of whether you are for or against, you are still free. You are still equipped. You are still capable. You are still able. And that too in itself is a form of balance, because there was a time to be for and there was a time to be against. So just look at it for what it is in your life, in your experience. Here at the back of the deck, we have the 10 of Wands. And like I mentioned earlier, the number 10 speaks to being at the end of the journey. So this is letting me know that it's a time to take heed of the steps that we've made before to get to this point, but also realizing that before we make it to our destination, before we get to where we think the journey ends, for me to even place it here between the Death card and the 10 of Swords, I'm being reminded of how I wasn't sure where to place it earlier in the reading, but here's the perfect position where we are now reviewing where can we transmute, where can we transform, where can we transition, where some things are going to end so that others can start. Some things that we are for are some things that we are going to be against, or flip it around as necessary. And in this case, this character here is juggling all of these wands, juggling all these possibilities, right? And once we can focus, hone in, zone in on ourselves, I mean, this meditation figure is here right in the middle, we can come back to ourselves and put our eyes on the prize, our eyes on where it is that we are needing to pay attention to. And then look at this, just bringing us back to how we started all over again, right? Granted, I split the deck earlier, but I think Spirit is reminding us to say, let us see the gift in it. Let us see what is being availed to us, what is new. Because from that ending, or the, reaching the closure, something ace takes us back to the beginning. And here it is, me not only speaking about it, but it being visible within the reading, where when something was closed, when something was ended, it just opened up or started a new chapter, a new beginning all over again. And not to shy away from being placed on this platform. For me to see this as what? 6 of Wands in the reverse. Wow. Granted, let me see what's behind this. Oh, I've got actually quite a few cards here. So 6 of Wands in reverse, Queen of Cups in reverse, Deer of Pentacles in reverse, and then with the Judgment. Wow. This is coming through as what Spirit's telling me now, like to read them together. It's like we would be unsuccessful in our pursuits by not collaborating and not taking the time to see ourselves or be nurturing to ourselves as we go through these experiences. And that Judgment card that I saw at the back there is just a reminder to, go back to the eyes. Go back to seeing things for what they are, what they truly are. And, keep your eyes open. Granted, you have 2 eyes, but you have your third eye. You have the eyes of your guides, your angels, your ancestors, and perhaps even relying on, what is beyond you. Not only on your own self, but what is available to you. What can others tell you or teach you or bring into your experience that you perhaps didn't see for yourself. This is again speaking to those multiple dimensions and those secrets, right, being revealed. So I think, this is a good place to end the reading. Let's keep ourselves open to what is being revealed to us. But I think this is just one aspect, one point in this alchemy that we are doing. Liberating the seasons. Something is being set free for sure, and whatever it is, it's definitely going to be great, and it's going to bring us out of confusion, man. It's going to just close one chapter, start a new one, because we are clearly capable to alchemize. So I'm going to leave it here. Thank you so much again for joining me. Peace, love, focus, care, attention, all the wonderful things, just sending them your way, light, dark. We're alchemizing all of these things here. So let's make the most of it. Have a beautiful rest of your day or night, morning, whenever you find this. And take care. Peace.